Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another discussion video. So, if you follow me on Instagram, which is obviously where I post my stories, I was featured on a Singapore-based English radio station called Class 95. It was during their morning show, The Muttons in the Morning, known for their comedic humor and fun activities every hour. However, it was on the 2nd of October at around 8:55 a.m. in the morning when my WhatsApp message was featured in the 8 a.m. discussion segment, in which they discuss about current trends and usually follows up with audience participation by allowing listeners to share their opinions via WhatsApp or calling their phone line. On the 2nd of October, the topic for discussion was the relevance of physical media, specifically CDs. Because it was the 42nd anniversary of the first commercial CD player, the Sony CDP-101. If you want context, let me read you an excerpt from its Wikipedia page. The Sony CDP-101 was the world's first commercially released compact disc player. Released first in Japan on October 1st, 1982, it was sold at an astounding $730. Judging by today's inflation, that first CD player would cost more than $2,000. Nowadays, CD players are more common with multiple manufacturers producing their own CD players, thus becoming a more affordable product. So when I heard that the Muttons, the station's morning DJs, are taking calls and messages from listeners to share their CD collection, I knew that I should prove a point, because I have the balls to bet that at the time, there could be listeners of Class 95 who are Swifties. Of course, I'm a Swiftie myself, and I was eager to voice out my opinion. Thankfully, they had made a podcast series highlighting key moments from the morning show, and I'm going to give you an excerpt from the time that they are starting to receive messages and calls from listeners. Take a listen.
Let's open up the phone lines. Very, very curious this morning.
Yeah.
Right? Do you still hold on to a CD?
Wow, very
Right?
cool.
Yeah. Tell us, if you do, tell us what CD it is.
Mhm.
You know, is it maybe your favorite singer?
Yeah.
What's the sentimental value behind it? What's that CD? And yeah, why do you still have it?
Yeah, why do you have? Do you still have a player that plays it?
That would be crazy.
Yeah,
if
man.
you had a
42nd birthday of the CD.
the CD player.
Yeah,
Wow.
CD player. Yeah.
Wow, what a day.
Then it was at around 8:55 a.m. when the Muttons finally mentioned my name. It kind of goes like, "Here's this, hi Muttons, I have a collection of Taylor Swift CDs, and the Eras Tour had changed my perception on collecting CDs. Whenever my internet died or I am not able to pay for streaming subscriptions, I will always have my physical CDs to listen at any time." Here's a screenshot of my message that was featured to prove that yes, I was the one that shared my opinion. I was so lucky that I got to be featured in a radio station by a WhatsApp message about CDs. Thanks, Taylor! Now for real, that's the reason why I'm making this video, to showcase my CD collecting journey so far, as well as my opinion on physical media continuing to exist until the end of time. Okay, enough rambling. Let's get right into the discussion. November 2023, the Eras Tour movie hit theaters in Singapore with huge fanfare. After watching it twice, I decided to research on the key moments at the Los Angeles show of Taylor's blockbuster tour. It was revealed on her last night of the show that she announced her re-recorded version of her 5th studio album, 1989. I grew up with 1989 when I was a kid. I remember the time that I watched a Bad Blood music video on repeat because both visually and melodically, they're badass as fuck. December of 2023. To rekindle my nostalgia, just one day before the first day of Singapore Comic Con 2023, I visited the record store at the Adelphi to buy my first Taylor Swift CD. 1989 Taylor's version. I bought this CD for 25 Singapore dollars, not to mention that it was during Christmas month, so that's a plus. January 2024. It's the New Year's, so I thought maybe another Taylor Swift CD, cause you know, consumerism. Well, back to the record store to pick up the mahogany edition of Taylor Swift's Midnight's album. Unfortunately, I do not have the footage or photo of me doing so, and I couldn't remember the price, but I assumed it's the same price as the 1989 CD, which was $25. February 2024. It's the year of the dragon, and you know the color of this occasion? Red. And you know what's also red? Red Taylor's version. Considered as her magnum opus, of course I had to pick it up. It's arguably her best work yet, in my opinion anyways. Once again, no footage or photo, but I do remember the price for this CD, which was $40. In addition, I picked up Lover, so that's another $30. Whoa. March 2024. It's Eras Tour month. Taylor had arrived at Singapore shores for one hell of a show. To cap off the tour on its final day, I picked up Speak Now, Taylor's version, at the same record store for $50. I wonder why. And I picked up Fearless Taylor's version at Kinokuniya Orchard for $10 cheaper. Nevertheless, what a way to cap out the tour with a bang. A few weeks later, I picked up the Japanese import version of Taylor's late night edition of the same Midnights album. However, the only problem I had with it was the price. 70 Singapore dollars. Maybe it's because of import taxes that I don't know about, but I don't give a fuck. April 2024, 1 week after the release of Tay Tay's new album, Tortured Poets. Because it needs time for physical copies to be shipped internationally, same old record store picked up the manuscript edition for just $35. Once again, consumerist mindset, picked up Folklore at Kinokuniya for $40, and the rest is history. May 2024. After seeing videos about the Tortured Poets Collector CD and realizing that the Japanese import of the manuscript edition sold at the same Kinokuniya had postcard versions of the cards in the collector CD, which is right over here. I have these. You saw all these postcards right here? Yeah, these are the ones that come with the Japanese import. I decided to fuck it. I'm gonna buy more. Much like the Midnight's Late Night CD, this CD is $70, but it doesn't stop there. I also purchased Evermore, the quote-unquote sequel to Folklore. That's another $40. Then I went extreme when I found the Bolter edition of Tortured Poets at a record store in Novena. That's another $35. So in total, I had spent 500 Singapore dollars in Taylor Swift CDs. That is ridiculous. Now you might be thinking, where's Debut? Where's Reputation? Here's the thing, Taylor did not re-record these two albums yet. You know me, I always support Taylor Swift the best I can because I knew for a fact that if I bought the original versions, Swifties will call me out like I've committed the worst crime in history and I should be burnt at the stake for it. In all seriousness, I would rather wait for Taylor's version for both Debut and Reputation than buying the original versions. Besides, Taylor incentivized fans to buy her re-recorded versions because guess what? Vault tracks exist. In simple terms, you get more content. And speaking of more content, Tortured Poets Anthology CD when? Okay, so I've been rambling about my Taylor Swift CD collecting timeline. Now let me explain on my stand on physical media, the reason why I am making this video. I stand by the fact, without any doubt whatsoever, that physical media is here to stay. Don't get me wrong, digital media can be a convenience for most people, especially streaming. But accessing media digitally is far from perfect. Hence, it is not the be-all, end-all solution. You can argue that physical media has limitations, but so does digital media. To keep the topic simple with music only, I only talk about why I believe physical CDs and vinyl records should stay even in this modern day. With that being said, let's dive right in. But before we get to that, truth be told, full disclosure. Just to clarify, I still use streaming when it comes to music, normally using Apple Music to do that, and I've been using this medium to stream music since late 2021. However, Taylor's Eras Tour changed my perception when it comes to enjoying music. And nowadays, I've bought all these CDs not only for collector's purposes, because I want to listen to Taylor's songs even without internet. Like times when there's no internet or like my subscriptions, I cannot pay for my subscription because of higher prices. I can still listen to Taylor's songs regardless because I have all these CDs. And after researching on the pros and cons of both digital and physical media, I can understand why. Point number 1, availability. Remember this quote? Almost everyone is saying it about the landscape of digital media in the modern world, whether it's movies, TV shows, games, or even music. You will hear this from people all the time. In an all-digital world, you don't own anything. Music is no exception to that rule. Whatever you purchase digitally is subjected to availability by the artist and the record label. I'm going to give you a scenario here. Imagine your favorite artist is caught in a legal dispute case. Well, hypothetically speaking, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but hypothetically speaking, the record label may have the right to remove the artist's content from the digital platform. As such, you, the consumer, will lose access to the content affected, even if you either paid a full price or subscribe to a streaming service to access the content digitally. You see, digital ownership does not mean you own the digital copy of the product. Instead, you're purchasing the license to access the product digitally. When licenses lapse, the IP holder has the right to revoke the license without prior warning. This happened to me once when one particular song was delisted from Apple Music's streaming service. That song is a collaborative version of 50/50's Cupid with Sabrina Carpenter. On December of last year, I once had access to the song via streaming. However, without any prior warning, that song was pulled from streaming at around January of this year, thus losing access to that content entirely. That's why physical media is better in terms of availability. You go to a record store, buy a vinyl or CD, and you get to keep the physical item for as long as you want. If the record label wishes to remove the content from digital storefronts, you still get to keep the physical product, and as long as you have a working CD or record player, you're free to listen to the music whenever you please. You wouldn't see like agents knock at your doorstep and go like, "Hey sir, you have content that's currently unavailable. Please return it to us." That's not only ridiculous, but it is also unfeasible from a financial, legal, and logistic standpoint. In addition, the record label would have received negative publicity for that. All in all, in terms of content availability, physical media wins because you get to own the physical product that contains the content. As long as you keep it in your possession, you are able to enjoy the content as many times as you desire. Point number 2, streaming is always online. When you stream music on a streaming service, you are required to be always connected to the internet to access the content. Not only do you need an internet connection, but you also have to take into account the status of the service's internal servers. If your internet died all of a sudden, unless you have cellular data, you will lose access to your entire music library, even if you save some songs to your playlist. Physical media, on the other hand, does not need an internet connection to be accessed. You simply insert the disc to a working CD player and the content plays as normal, even without internet. However, this solution is not effective when you're on the go depending on your lifestyle choices. In this current age, cars are now manufactured without a physical disc drive, forcing you to rely on digital services to listen to your own music. And if one of your favorite songs has been delisted from streaming, there's nothing you can do about it. Me personally, I have relatives from Indonesia that owns a car that has a functioning disc drive. So at least I do not have an issue if I wish to play my favorite Taylor Swift songs via her CDs in the car. However, if you want to listen to physical media and you have a car that does not have a built-in disc drive, you have to rely on portable CD players, which could be a pain in the ass for some. If that has the same experience as having a built-in disc drive in the car, then there is no fucking point on removing the option of inserting a physical disc into the disc drive. My suggestion is that you can keep the option to use streaming and connect it with the car, but you also have to leave the option for people to insert a physical disc to the built-in disc drive instead of forcing them to rely on external hardware that will cost them more money. All in all, physical media does not require an internet connection, unlike digital means. In a scenario when your internet is out for a few hours, rest assured that your physical music can still be listenable. Point number 3, presentation. When it comes to presentation, that's where physical media shines in that category. Don't get me wrong, music on streaming has a visual presentation. For example, in Apple Music, when you access some albums, the album cover will play a subtle animation. However, there is more to the presentation of physical media than meets the eye. Not only do you get to see the album cover in person, but the satisfaction of lifting a vinyl from its sleeve or opening the casing of the CD cannot be denied. In addition, in some editions, you may get extra content aside from the CD itself. Take the Japanese import of the Tortured Poets department as an example. Not only do you get the CD, but you also get 4 postcards and 1 tag. That is an incentive that can be done only on physical media. If you want to look for the best presentation in a physical music CD or vinyl, look no further than the lyric booklet itself. Sure, digital music does provide lyrics, but it lacks the art of lyric booklets in physical media. One of the best examples of creative lyric booklets are Taylor Swift's CDs. Look at every lyric booklet from all of her albums, and each feels like a breath of fresh air. From the use of different fonts to the addition of unique photos that you won't see in digital music, it allows every booklet to be unique to its album theme, thus standing out from one another. Hey look, that's Taylor having a great summertime. Hey look, that's a behind the scenes photo of Taylor and Florence Welch while recording Tortured Poets. Hey look, old tour photos. You get the idea. As such, the presentation of physical media is not only eye-catching, but also artistic. When it comes to artists like Taylor Swift, the creativity in lyric booklets can make or break a product. And I'm glad that they go above and beyond to make these booklets the most creative as humanly possible. Point number 4, and it might be very subjective, but it is better engagement. In terms of engagement, physical media allows fans to post photos and videos about their collection. Bragging aside, these fans make themselves more believable that they support their favorite artists and their work, thus enticing the artists to produce more songs. And it does not only apply to fans, but what about your family members, whether it's your parents, grandparents, whoever? If they have a passion for collecting physical media, you get to discover their music tastes, thus encouraging you to know more about their favorite song artists. Furthermore, if you feel that you do not have the need to have physical media in your collection, you can always give it away to, let's say, your children. Think of it as the passing of the torch from one generation to another. Let your future generation know about your passion in music in physical media. To reiterate, physical media can be a good social tool to connect with other music enthusiasts about your favorite artists, favorite songs, and your overall music taste. Hence, it allows others to know you more compared to digital means. Now, all of these points that I've elaborated on should return to my stand on physical media. I will stand by this statement, and I will always do until the end of time. But physical media should not be phased out. Digital streaming may be more convenient than physical media, but it is far from perfect. In addition, streaming platforms are becoming more expensive. Given the subscription price hikes that we see today, it affects the biggest streaming platforms such as Netflix, Disney+, Spotify, YouTube Premium, so on and so forth. If the average consumer is not able to resubscribe to their favorite streaming platform due to high subscription prices, then the only options left is to either buy physical versions or one that I strictly don't condone on this channel, piracy. Please don't pirate music. It was never worth it, and you're not supporting the artist at all. Furthermore, artists such as Coldplay are tapping into sustainable practices for the production of physical media. For example, Coldplay made a promise that their vinyl records for their recent album New Music are manufactured with recycled materials. Is the quality perfect? Not perfect, but it is still a good alternative. The fact that artists are tapping into sustainable practices revolutionizes the production of physical media going forward, and I hope that Coldplay can influence such practices to more artists. As long as CD players and record players continue to exist in the global market, we will be able to see physical media continuing its lifespan in the long term, and we won't stop supporting artists with masterful discography by truly understanding the arts of music in physical media. But that's just one man's take. Let me know in the comments about your opinion on physical media. Should it continue to exist? Are we ready for an all-digital world yet? Do let me know. If you enjoyed this video, do give it a like, subscribe to my channel for more content, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!